Sergeant Arms, please secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone? Oh, actually, let's do our invocation first. That would be helpful. This morning we have the Imam Amir Sheikh from the Islamic Society of Annapolis in Annapolis, Maryland. Guest of the senator from District 32. Members, please rise for the invocation.
And sisters, let's begin and open this gathering with prayer. For our selfless community leaders that are here today, O God, we ask that you grant them the ways of justice, mercy, righteousness, and wisdom. Grant them the ability to follow the footsteps of your honorable messengers. O God, as they work hard to lead our city, our county, and our state, show them the path to the best of speech and the best of character. Give them beneficial knowledge, a heart filled with humility, and deeds that are worthy of praise and your acceptance, O God. O God, grant them the good of this life, the good of the life to come, and protect us from vices and your anger. Amen.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Imam, the Islamic Society of Annapolis is a teaching and preaching ministry. I have visited the mosque in Gambros, and I shared a meal and prayed with this devoted group of Muslims that work to establish relations and cooperation with other Muslim and non-Muslim organizations to further meet community empowerment and goals. Mr. President, may we journalize the words of the Imam?
Thank you, Senator. Without objection, we will most certainly journalize the Imam's wonderful remarks this morning. Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? Madam Chair, Finance. Oh, the button. Presence. Thank you. Clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is again in session. All right, long night last night. Back again. We had a little April Fool's guest walk through today and turn our wonderful once-in-a-lifetime Aquarium with our pods now here with these wonderful marine creatures just floating in midair. A little lightheartedness to kick off what is not lighthearted issues. Not lighthearted issues. All right, look, this morning, let's talk about schedule quickly. We're going to do we're not going to go too long this morning. We had a very, very long night last night, so we're going to lighten the load a bit this morning, and then we will come back tonight at 7 tonight. So it'll be another long day, but this is why the 120,000 Marylanders in each of our districts sent us to do this work. So we're going to keep doing it. Any other announcements today before we jump into things? Announcements? No? Without objection, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We've got a announcement by the President. This is a reassignment. Clerk will read the message.
In accordance with Rule 33D, the following legislation has been reassigned. Senate Bill 960, Senator Lee, Highways, Public-Private Partnerships, Cultural Preservation, reassigned to Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, and Budget and Taxation.
All right, the bill will be, message having been read is adopted. The bill will be reassigned. Let's go ahead and start with laid over bills. This is calendar 24. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1048, Delegate Wilkins, Election Law, Permanent Absentee Ballot List. Question is on the adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable report.
All right, question is on the adoption of the four committee amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The four committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The payroll committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1048 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, we've got a special order calendar number 40. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 135, Delegate Young, Pharmacist, Administration of Self-Administered Medications and Maintenance Injectable Medications.
All right, Senators, House Bill 135 is on third reading for final passage. This is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not...
Mr. President.
Oh, yes. Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill?
No.
Oh, I'm not, no, excuse me, Senator from Baltimore and Howard County.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I did special order this yesterday for an amendment to the bill to try to address some of the concerns that the Health and Government Operations Committee had brought up in the House. I just received the amendment, so I'm going to offer that. And I did reach out earlier to the committee and the sponsor as well. The amendment is the amendment number.
Senator, could you give us the amendment number, please?
Yep, the amendment number is 253022/1.
One moment, Senator.
And while that comes up, I'll just briefly explain what the amendment does.
Senator, if you could just give us one moment, make sure we
Sure.
have it on the laptops before so people have it.
No problem.
Okay, Senator may explain the amendment.
Okay, so this bill is to allow for pharmacists to be able to provide maintenance injectable medications, provide injections to people who need a prescription injection. The bill added conditions of sexually transmitted diseases to the Senate version. The House version came back without it. It was added back on. This is an attempt to address some of the concerns that they had with that provision with regarding to allowing sexually transmitted infections to also be treated by pharmacists. The pharmacist would be able to apply that initial antibiotic dose by intramuscular injection, and that would essentially cure them of the STI. The amendment provides for a summary to be reviewed by the Maryland Department of Health as it pertains to how other states are doing this, as well as review of the CDC recommendation. This is because the CDC currently, with it being more difficult to be able to get appointments with providers, is recommending that pharmacists be allowed to do this as well. A review of the CDC's recommendations as well as best practices for pharmacists to be able to do this, particularly in both urban and rural communities, and whether or not this provision should sunset after this bill takes effect. That's the amendment, and happy to offer that to the bill.
All right, Senator moves the amendment. Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee sees this as a friendly amendment. Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion on the amendment? On the amendment, all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments? If not, House Bill 135 is on third reading for final passage. Again, this is an emergency bill. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 135, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got Special Order Calendar 42. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 894, Senator Rosapep, Post-Crisis Jobs Act of 2021. This is an emergency bill. Questions on the adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable report.
All right, Senators, before the body is the two committee amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 894 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we've got some third reading bills. This is calendar 14. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 6, Delegate Feldmark, Economic Development, Maryland Technology Development Corporation, alterations.
All right, House Bill 6 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City.
Mr. President, can you tell me when would be the appropriate time for an amendment?
Now would be that time, Senator.
Excellent. Can the clerk pull up Amendment 443-8231?
823. Just one moment, Senator. All right, Senator may explain the amendment.
No, thank you, Mr. President. It was recently brought to the committee's attention that one of the members on that would be affected in TEDCO, there was some ambiguity on if the term limit that was applied in the bill would hamper the fact that he's already served a certain amount of terms. This amendment essentially says that any term limits on a member would be prospective versus retrospective. I'm sorry. I move for adoption of the amendment.
All right, Chair recognizes the floor leader. Senators move the amendment. Chair recognizes the
Yeah,
floor leader.
we've discussed it in committee. That's a friendly amendment, and I
All
think
right.
it addresses the TEDCO concern, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Committee sees it as a friendly amendment. Any further discussion? If not, without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments? Further amendments? If not, House Bill 6 is on third reading for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 6, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 13, Delegate Lukey, Influence on Collective Bargaining, Prohibition on Use of Public Funds.
House Bill 13 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 13, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 416, Delegate Belcastro, Healthcare Facilities, Assisted Living Programs, Requirements for Alzheimer's Special Care Units, and Regulations.
House Bill 416 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take... Oh, I'm sorry. Chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District? No? Oh, Senator, we may want to vote on it. All right, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 416, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 654, Delegate Chi, Maryland Small Business Innovation Research and Technology Transfer Incentive Programs Alterations.
All right, House Bill 654 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 654, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 849, Delegate Rosenberg, Public Health, Medical Records, Fees.
House Bill 849 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 849, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 989, Delegate Krebs, Public Safety, 911 Emergency Telephone System Alterations.
House Bill 989 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 989, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1034, Delegate Cullison, Prescription Drug Affordability Board, Plan of Action, Repeal of Date for Submission.
House Bill 1034 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1034, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got a consent calendar of third reading bills. This is calendar 15, consent 7. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading calendar number 15, consent number 7.
All right, Senators, the bills on consent calendar number 7 are on third reading for final passage. There's a fair number of bills in this list, so please take a look. Give it a second. Look through all the bills. Make sure that any that senators want to separate out, vote on separately. Going once, going twice. All right. In that case, the bills on calendar 15, consent 7, third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, bills on third reading calendar 15, consent number 7, are declared passed. We've got another consent calendar. This is 16, consent number 8. Clerk will read the calendar.
third reading calendar number 16, consent calendar number 8.
Okay, these are House bills, Senators, five of them. Take a quick look. Any that Senators wish to separate out? If not, no discussion. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, bills on consent calendar 16, consent 8, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. Okay, we've got another third reading calendar, number 17. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 7, Delegate Lukey, venison donation expenses, income tax credit, and grant program.
House Bill 7 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 7, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 113, Delegate Learman, Board of Revenue Estimates and Bureau of Revenue Estimates Organization and Operations.
House Bill 113 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 113, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 133, Delegate Corman, State Finance and Procurement, Appropriation Reductions, Board of Public Works Budget Reduction Clarification Act.
House Bill 133 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 133, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 252, Delegate Long, Tax Sales, Owner-Occupied Residential Property.
House Bill 252 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 252, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 337, Delegate Young, Sales and Use Tax Vendor Collection Credit Job Training.
House Bill 337 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 337, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 865, Delegate Smith, Historic Revitalization Tax Credit, Small Commercial Projects, Alterations.
House Bill 865 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 865, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 887, Delegate Chang, State Debt Annuity Bond Fund, Use of Bond Premiums.
House Bill 887 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 887, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1040, Delegate Kelly, Health Occupations Pharmacist, Administration of Children's Vaccine Study and Temporary Authority.
House Bill 1040 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1040, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1086, Delegate Kaiser, Maryland Tax Credit Evaluation Act, alterations.
House Bill 1086 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1086, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1137, Delegate Kerr, Public Property Tax Credit, Business Entities, State of Emergency.
House Bill 1137 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1137, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1301, Delegate Smith, Baltimore City, Visit Baltimore, Appropriation Calculation.
House Bill 1301 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1301, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1336, Delegate Proctor, State Retirement and Pension System, Executive Directors, Membership and Vesting.
House Bill 1336 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1336, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1341, Chair Appropriations Committee, University System of Maryland Academic Facilities Bonding Authority.
House Bill 1341 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1341, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1365, Delegate Corman, Non-Public Special Education Schools, State Contribution Increase.
All right, House Bill 1365 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1365, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we got a few second readers. Before we do that, I did forget to make an announcement. We got some calls yesterday. Please, senators, remember we're only 12 days left. Mask reminder, social distancing reminder. Please keep your masks on in the chamber, in the lounge, in the public areas. This goes for all of us. We've got to be the leaders and the models of good behavior here. We got 12 days left. Above the nose, below the chin. All right, let's go into our second reading calendar. This is Committee on Finance, calendar number 38. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 123, Delegate Pena Melnick, Preserve Telehealth Access Act of 2021, favorable with 7 amendments.
House Bill 123 is on third. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It is going to the Senator from Prince George's County as the floor leader.
Thank you. House Bill 123 is similar to Senate Bill 3, which passed the Senate earlier this session. The bill expands Medicaid and health insurance coverage and reimbursement requirements for services provided through telehealth. The amendments modify certain provisions to align with the Senate crossfile and adopt compromised consumer protection provisions. More specifically, Amendments 1 and 6 modify the purpose paragraph and make other technical changes. Amendment 2 specifies that Medicaid coverage of telehealth is subject to the limitations of the state budget. Amendments 3 through 5 require insurers to cover telehealth services regardless of the location of the patient at the time the services are provided, and modify consumer protections by prohibiting Medicaid and insurers from excluding from coverage a behavioral health service when provided in person solely because the service may also be provided through telehealth. Amendment 7 conforms the bill to the Senate crossfile by requiring the Maryland Department of Health to revise certain telehealth regulations. The amendment also requires the Maryland Insurance Administration to study certain matters relating to provider network sufficiency and access to care, and to consider the requirements of the bill when proposing revisions to certain regulations. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 7 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question on the 7 committee amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendments say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 7 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report is amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 123 is hereby ordered passed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 881, Delegate Valentino Smith, Mental Health Facilities, Sexual Abuse and Harassment, Reporting and Prevention, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 8 as the floor leader.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 881 is identical to Senate Bill 815, which passed the Senate earlier this session. The bill requires a licensed residential treatment center, a state facility, or a hospital with a separately identified inpatient psychiatric service to report a complaint of sexual abuse or sexual harassment of a patient within 24 hours after receiving the complaint. A complaint must be reported to the Behavioral Health Administration and other specified entities. The bill also requires these facilities to implement certain actions related to the prevention of sexual abuse and sexual harassment, and there was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion on the report? Not. All in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 881 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 904, Delegate Bridges, State Personnel, Collective Bargaining, Exclusive Representative Access to New Employees, favorable with 2 amendments.
All right. House Bill 904, Chair recognizes, yes, Senator from District 19 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 904 is similar to Senate Bill 717, which passed the Senate. The bill alters the process available to an exclusive representative regarding access to newly hired state employees for the purpose of relaying the benefits of joining an employee organization. Meetings may be in person, video, or similar means at a time period specified, and also includes a means for connecting to have an exclusive representative meet with the individual. There are 2 amendments that conform the House bill to the Senate bill. There is no fiscal impact. Move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report is amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 904 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1210, the Speaker, Corporate Diversity Board, Executive Leadership and Mission, favorable with 1 amendment.
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1210 requires businesses in the state to demonstrate either diversity in its board or executive leadership or support for defined underrepresented communities in its mission in order to qualify for capital grants, tax credits, or state procurement contracts worth more than $1 million. The bill also requires the Department of Commerce and Governor's Office of Small Minority and Women's Affairs to develop a state equity scorecard that compiles diversity data relating to corporate boards, leadership, and missions for specified businesses doing business in the state. Additionally, a person that submits an annual report to the State Department of Assessments and Taxation must also submit the related diversity data. The bill applies prospectively and takes effect July 1, 2022. The amendment specifies that a single member LLC and a privately held company with 75% family shareholders are exempt from the bill's requirements. I move the amendment and the adoption of a favorable committee report.
All right, Senators move the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, Chair recognizes Senator from District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the bill and amendments lie over under the rule.
The bill and the Senator's motion is in order. The bill and the amendment will lay over under the rule. All right, let's see. We've got Education, Health, Environmental Affairs, calendar 39. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 83, Delegate Queen, Public and Non-Public Schools, Electric Retractable Room Partitions, Review and Report, favorable with 2 amendments.
Oh, yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Lower Eastern Shore as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 83, as amended, is identical to Senate Bill 104, as passed unanimously by the Senate. There are 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 are technical changes. Amendment number 2 strikes the bill as passed by the House, which substituted a review and report requirement for the bill as drafted, and substitute the bill as passed by the Senate. There's no fiscal impact, unanimous support in the committee, and I ask for a favorable report with the 2 amendments.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the 2 amendments, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 83 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 630, Delegate Solomon, Primary and Secondary Education, School District Energy Use Policy and Study, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 630 simply requires that starting next year that school districts analyze energy use in their schools so they can prioritize how to use renewable energy and be more efficient. There were no amendments and move the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Discussions on the report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 630 is hereby ordered passed to 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 738, Chair Ways and Means Committee, Election Law, Certificates of Candidacy and Ballot Questions, Revisions, favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from Baltimore and Howard Counties as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 738 is a departmental bill from the State Board of Elections that establishes earlier dates prior to primary and general elections, after which, number 1, a successor candidate or candidates or nominees for governor or lieutenant governor may no longer be designated in the event of a candidate's or nominee's death, withdrawal, declination, or disqualification. And number 2, the existing governor and lieutenant governor unit remain on the ballot. The bill also establishes earlier dates for the submission of plain language summaries of constitutional amendments or referendum ballot questions to the State Board of Elections, as well as public availability of the complete text of ballot questions. There are no committee amendments. It passed out of committee unanimously. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Question on the report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 738 is hereby ordered passed to third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 891, Delegate D.M. Davis, Higher Education, Hunger-Free Campus Grant Program established, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 891 is in the same posture as Senate Bill 767 that creates a grant program at our public institutions to end hunger on our campuses. Our public institution of higher education, as well as our regional centers of higher education, will be eligible for this grant program. There were no committee amendments. The bill passed unanimously. I put in a motion for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 891 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 905, Delegate Bridges, Education Workforce Development Sequence Scholarships, eligibility, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a cross-file of Senate Bill 845, which passed this body unanimously, and it just alters the definition of eligible student. There was one committee amendment, a technical change, and again redefines eligible student to make it more inclusive. Move the favorable report as amended.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 905 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1060, Delegate Patterson, Charles County Board of Education, membership alterations, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Charles County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 1060 comes out of EE, favorable with two amendments. This bill, as amended, is identical to Senate Bill 749 as passed unanimously by the Senate. As amended, this bill alters the number of elected members of the Charles County Board of Education from 7 to 9. It also alters the method of selecting the elected members by requiring that 2 board members are elected from each of the 4 county commissioner districts. There are 2 committee amendments, as I mentioned earlier. Amendment 1 makes technical changes to the bill's title, and Amendment 2 alters the number of elected members from 7 to 9 and requires that 2 members be elected from each of the 4 county commissioner districts and 1 member to be elected at large. Mr. President, I move for adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question on the amendments? Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the Upper Eastern Shore.
Can the bill and the amendment lie over under the rule, please?
Senator's motion is in order. The bill and the amendment will lie over under the rule. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1136, Delegate Chisholm, Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Licenses, Annual Fees, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Anne Arundel as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a local bill. As amended, it's the same as the Senate bill, passed unanimously. Basically what this does is it reimburses alcohol annual fees. There are 2 amendments. First is technical. The second conforms it to the Senate bill. I move the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1136 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1317, Delegate Smith, Barbers, Employment of Apprentice Barbers, alterations, favorable.
Barbers. Chair recognizes the senator from Charles County as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1317 comes to us with no amendments, a favorable committee report. This bill increases the number of apprentice barbers that a barbershop may employ at the same time per master barber, from 1 to 3 and removes the overall 3 apprentice limit. There are no committee amendments, no fiscal impact. Move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Discussion on the report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or recital? Seeing none, House Bill 1317 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Senators, just a quick logistics announcement. If House committees, the House committees are supposed to start at 1. We've reached out to them. Senators with cross-filed bills do not need to attend. The committee will take up the bill without the need for a senator to appear. If it is not cross-filed, senators, there's more total permission to send a designee. So they are expecting designees, knowing that we're on the floor. So if you have a bill, we should be done pretty soon, but just in case you have one that starts at 1, just know that designee is totally accepted. All right, let's go to report number 40 from EHE. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 127, Delegate Boyce, Maryland Paint Stewardship, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Howard and Carroll Counties as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I have a question for you. How much paint do you have sitting in cans in your garage? Apparently there's 10% of paint purchased that's unused, and 80% of this paint is recyclable. House Bill 127 requires the establishment of a paint stewardship program. Each retailer must submit a plan to MDE on the management of post-consumer paint by 1, reducing its generation, 2, promoting its reuse and recycling, and 3, negotiating and executing agreements to collect, transport, reuse, recycle, and process for recovery. There are no committee amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right. Floor leaders move for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes senator from District 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if the floor leader, my fellow Carroll delegation member, would yield for a question.
Will the floor leader yield? It appears so. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the bill. I was looking to see what amendments were put on the bill. The committee, obviously, as you said, didn't. Were there any amendments put on the bill in the House? Because I'm reading the fiscal notes. I want to understand if anything changed.
Bear with me. We're checking on that. There were no amendments in the Senate, but we're checking on whether there were amendments in the House.
I didn't see any, but I'm asking just to be sure, because there's a couple concerning things that I see about this bill that I want to see if we get some clarity on.
Senator, there were no amendments in the House.
Okay, thank you. So the fiscal note, and so first question would be, the fiscal note talks about the small business effect of this bill, and I think we're all, I know, watching carefully this session, hopefully to avoid adding additional small business regulations and negatively impacting small business, really job creators in general, not adding anything new right now, even if something may be a good idea. So the fiscal note says that this bill could result in potentially significant additional operational responsibilities because for producers, retailers, and distributors of architectural paint in the state. They're going to have to add an assessment to the cost of all architectural paint sold and account for those assessments and remit them to their representative organizations. And they're going to have to verify that all paint sold in the state is in compliance, producers even if they're from out of state, is in compliance with this approved program and submit reports. So it seems like we're creating a lot of bureaucracy for something where right now there are drop-offs and places where you can take paint and other types of materials. So could you talk a little bit, what did the committee discuss as far as what's already available to deal with paint disposal versus creating a whole new program?
I believe that there are, in certain counties, places to reduce your paint, but not in every single county.
Senator, does the senator have a motion? Maybe we can get some questions answered in between.
Well, I mean, I have some other questions, Mr. President, but I'd be happy to special order this until the evening session. I understand we have a lot of issues, so I didn't want to just lead with that, but I'd be happy to, if the floor leader is amenable to special order.
We're fine with that.
Appears there are no objections. Are there any objections to Senator's motion? Without objection, we'll special order this to the end of the calendar. We'll probably recess today, so we'll take it at the end later. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 295, Delegate Love, Water Pollution, Stormwater Management Regulations, and Watershed Implementation Plans, Review and Update, favorable.
All right. Senator from Baltimore and Howard Counties is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 295 requires the Maryland Department of the Environment to update specified stormwater management regulations and criteria once every 5 years to incorporate specified updated precipitation data. Among other things, in updating the regulations, MDE must also conduct specified public outreach and consult with specified entities. The House version of the bill requires the department to consult with a few additional stakeholders when developing stormwater regulations, including the Maryland Association of Soil Conservation Districts. The committee accepted those changes. This bill is the cross-file of Senate Bill 227, which passed the Senate unanimously. This bill also passed unanimously out of committee. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Question on the report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 295 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 407, Delegate Stein, On-Site Sewage Disposal Systems Inspection Licensing, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 9 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 407 is identical to Senate Bill 22, which passed almost unanimously. The bill repeals the current law requirements related to the certification of those engaged in the business of property transfer inspections for on-site sewage disposal systems. By July 1st of 2022, any person who engages in the business of inspecting systems must obtain an on-site wastewater property transfer license issued by the Maryland Department of the Environment. There were no committee amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Question on the report. Any discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes Minority Whip.
Yeah, just a question. I'm trying to look at this one real quick. What are because we're putting in place a new license. What is the fine if they don't have this license?
The fine if they don't have the license?
Yeah, my understanding. Trying to look at it. There's fines for like multiple fines for each time I guess they go out and inspect a couple of these. They didn't realize we had a license here, a new license.
I know we talked about this extensively, and on the Senate bill, the administrative penalty is up to $10,000.
$10,000 per incident.
Each septic system that an individual inspects without a valid license is a separate violation.
So you've spent a career inspecting this, and somehow you miss a day without getting this license or didn't know about it. You do 3 of these, you get a $30,000 penalty?
Well, I don't think that they would do three in a day, but they should have these licenses, and I expect that the department would promulgate regulations and make sure that everybody knew about this. I mean, the bottom line is, I have a septic system. I'd certainly want somebody qualified inspecting my septic system. Otherwise, I could go and pollute my well.
I understand. I just, Maryland has survived this long without this new license. It may be needed, it may not be. I'm just curious why you don't think they wouldn't do 2 or 3 of these a day. They're running a business.
So, does the senator have a motion on this bill?
Well, the bill's still on second reading. I'm just discussing it for a second. I'd be happy to special order it.
Does the senator want to special order the bill?
Yeah, we have a special order this till later.
Senator special orders the bill. Any objections from the floor leader?
No, no objections. I just would like to remind the body that we passed this almost unanimously on the Senate.
All right. If there are no objections, let's special order the bill at the appropriate time tomorrow, or the end of the calendar, same calendars. End of the calendar tonight, right. We'll recess today, so we'll do a special order later. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 777, Delegate Brooks, Power Plant Research Program Review of Application for Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity Alterations, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. HB 777 is identical to Senate Bill 417 that passed the Senate. It establishes a 6-month deadline in which the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment must take to review any recommendations or completed application for what's called a CPCN, a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity. For example, if someone wants to put up a solar project. The Public Service Commission can, in fact, waive the deadline for good cause if more time is needed. There are no amendments. Move adoption of favorable committee report.
All right. On the House jackpot bill, the floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 777 is hereby ordered passed to third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 790, Delegate Young, Procurement Office of Small Minority and Women-Owned Business Affairs, Small Business Reserve Program, and Veterans-Owned Small Business Enterprise Program, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the Lower Eastern Shores, the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 790 is identical to Senate Bill 598 as unanimously passed by the Senate. The bill repeals the statewide goal that at least 1% of the value of procurement contracts be made to veteran-owned small business enterprises, and it instead requires the Special Secretary of the Governor's Office of Small Minority and Women Business Affairs to adopt a statewide goal by regulation. There are no committee amendments, and I move a favorable report for House Bill 790.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 790 is hereby ordered passed to third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 800, Delegate Clark, Natural Resources, Waters of the State, Mobile Locator Application, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 800 requires the Department of Natural Resources to develop a mobile app for use by an individual while on the waters of the state. The purpose of the mobile app is to use interactive maps to aid an individual in determining their location in real time relative to aquaculture leases, oyster sanctuaries, submerged aquatic vegetation, protection zones, and other relevant areas. The bill authorizes the department to contract with a third party to develop the mobile app. There were no committee amendments, and this passed unanimously in committee. I move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 800 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 860, Delegate Gilchrist, State Planning, Preservation of Agricultural Land, goal, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 9 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 860 is the cross-file of Senate Bill 692, which passed the Senate unanimously. And this bill codifies the state goal of preserving a total of 1,030,000 acres of productive agricultural land through the Maryland Ag Land Preservation Foundation. The House version of this bill does include clarifying language that the bill is intended to extend the deadline to meet the state's agricultural land preservation goal set under Joint Resolution 16 and 17 of 2002 from 2022 to 2030. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 860 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 878, Delegate Chang, Bay Restoration Fund, authorized uses and county authority to incur indebtedness, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 878 is similar to Senate Bill 701, having to do with septic systems, one of our exciting topics in EHE. As the bill came over, it was a little broader than the Senate version, which passed the floor. So we made two amendments. The first one is technical. The second one is it struck the language which it would have expanded the authorized use of the Bay Restoration Fund account, and it would have their version would have restricted the number of systems that could have been acted upon. Instead, it allows counties to choose to cover engineering costs and components either as grants or loans and to make repairs on the existing septic systems with the best available technology. Mr. President, move the two amendments in the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of two committee amendments. In the favorable committee report on the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report is amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 878 is hereby ordered passed to third reading. Made a mistake. House committees are not meeting at 1. They're meeting at 1:30. So we should be done well before that. All right. Let's see. We've got a special order calendar. This is a Senate bill calendar number 39. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 515, Senator Klossmeyer, Criminal Procedure, Registered Sex Offenders, Entry onto School Property. This is an emergency bill. Question is on the adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable report.
I believe we may have a committee amendment on this one. Do we have to adopt?
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make a motion to remove the two committee amendments on this bill.
All right. So let's just hear from the chair of the committee. The senator's made a motion to remove the committee amendments.
Yes, Mr. President, that's in order. So we've agreed to remove the two committee amendments, and then I think he has an amendment to replace that with.
Okay, so the motion is to remove the amendments. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The committee amendments are now removed. Will we take up the amendment on the favorable report, or is this a substitute committee amendment? Okay, Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th District has a substitute committee amendment.
Yes, sir. I have amendment 808-170-1.
All right. So we've got, Senator may explain the amendment.
As this amendment applies to the bill, as amended, this emergency bill repeals the authorization of a student who is a registered sex offender under specific certain circumstances to certain schools. It ensures a sex registrant who is a student may receive an education in accordance with state law in specific locations. Each county board must develop and adopt a policy that enables a registered sexual offender to receive an education. The State Board of Education must develop and adopt guidance and a model policy to assist the county boards with the development of this policy.
All right. The senator has moved a substitute committee amendment. Any discussion on the substitute amendment? Appears not. All in favor of the substitute amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The substitute committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 515 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Last bill of the day, we've got 27, calendar 27 from Budget and Tax. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 463, Delegate Barron, Maryland Health Equity Resource Act, favorable with 3 amendments. This is an emergency bill.
Who do we have here? We've got House Bill 463. 463. Oh, Chair recognizes the Senator from Prince George as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 463 is the cross-file of Senate Bill 172, which we passed unanimously. I believe it was earlier this week. It's all a blur now. But the bill establishes the health equity resource communities. The bill, as passed by Budget and Tax and Finance unanimously, has 3 amendments that conforms it to the Senate bill. So I would move the adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question on the amendments? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 463 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, we're going to pause there. Yes,
President?
Chair recognizes Minority Leader.
Yeah, thank you. Just a procedural question. I know we had a very important bill dealing with crime. It was special ordered till today. I actually saw it on the computer and I pulled it up. And I'm not sure if there's a glitch in the computer because now it's gone.
It's just on a different calendar, so it's still on the calendars for today.
Okay, hopefully we'll
We're
get
going to
that
recess
tonight.
We're going to recess.
Hopefully we can get. It's been on the floor for over a week. It's an extremely important bill.
Understood.
So,
thank you, Senator. All right, we're going to pause there. Let's do committee announcements before we come back. Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance.
Thank you. Finance will meet at 2:30 for a voting session.
All right, 2:30. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. EHE will meet at 2:15 for bill hearings, and in case we're not on our game later tonight, depending on the hour, tomorrow we have a voting session at 10, and we'll have bill hearings on local house alcohol bills after our afternoon session.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation. Let's do judicial proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet at 2:15 for bill hearings.
2:15. All right, Budget and Tax. Chair recognizes the Chairman.
Sorry about that. With this, 2 o'clock we have a hearing, and at 2:30 we'll have voting. Conference Committee at 5:30.
All right. Excellent. Other delegations. Chair recognizes the Chair of the Prince George's County Delegation.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Prince George's Senators will be meeting this evening at 6 o'clock. And thank you very much.
6 o'clock. Thank you, Senator. All right. Any other delegations, select committees? Any other announcements?
Sorry about that,
Yeah,
Mr.
yes,
President.
Chair recognizes
But
Senator Prince
also, the
George's.
Rules Committee, I want to announce that the Rules Committee is meeting on tomorrow, Friday, April the 2nd, at 10:30 a.m.
10:30 tomorrow for rules. 10:30 tomorrow for rules.
Tomorrow, 10:30. Thank you.
All right. Thank
very
you,
much.
Senator. All right. Any other announcements? Yes, Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to be recorded in the green for House Bill 989.
989. We still have possession of it. All right.
And also, Mr. President, does anyone want to explain?
Hold on, Senator, 1 second. Without objection, are there any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. The Senator will be recorded in the green.
The only other thing, we had these visitors that's on all of our fish bowls, and I'm not sure if anyone else noticed or where they may have come from.
It was the Senaquarium, Senator. The Senaquarium for April 1st. So, as you're walking out, if you look and walk through, they sort of float in the middle of nowhere. The Senaquarium is in full effect today on our April Fool's Day. All right, any other announcements before we adjourn or before we recess? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was asked to announce that today is the first day of the month of April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Today is the first day of that. Okay, I move the Senate of Maryland stand in recess until Thursday, April 1st this evening at 7 p.m.
All right, without objections, so ordered. Stay safe, wear the mask, distance, get that vaccine.